Hello. So, as a follow-up to, whoops, that's not what I wanted to show. As a follow-up to what we were discussing on Tuesday, the 18th, not knowing when you'll be watching this, of course. Following on from doing the username and password GUI or graphical user interface, the other thing I'd like to get students to do is create some sort of an order form. Now these are really good, they're flexible, there's lots of options, but typically I will do something like this, what I'm showing here. So the idea is that the user, and this is very much a user-focused thing rather than anything else. So I will get students to create something like this. So we've got our coffee type. I'll just say it's a latte, it's soy milk, and if I bring up the console as well, it should print out. So if I click on print order, it's then saying you ordered a latte with soy milk and it will cost $4. So, and I've still got that going out to the console here. So the reason for this type of thing here is because, like I said, it's very much user focused. Users are familiar with this type of interface. They do surveys like this. They have they place orders like this. More and more we're going to this type. There's also a lot of flexibility because rather than having a radio button and some text, you can also have a picture. I mean, and if you walk into McDonald's these days, they have this type of a thing happening. So that's the way I'd be promoting this type of activity to students. So basically, it's like I said, it's an order form. So this is another option, and as I said, it's very much user focused. The other reason why we do this is because it allows for data entry with radio buttons, which limits the types of errors that can get input. So with the username and password, we've got to have a username, we've got to have a password. So it's up to the user what happens here. But here we are restricting what our user can put in. We're saying to the user, no, you've got two options here. And when it gets entered, there's a lot less room for errors. So just to take you through yeah, I'll show you some of the code for that, and but there will be I will provide this as well. So I'm going to close this. I'm going to close this. So so in terms of what I'd be showing students in terms of code, I'd say to them, okay, here's the stuff that we just have because we're making a PyQt interface. We're creating a window. We're setting out a layout. It's a vertical box layout, so it's going to be one thing on top of another. Then I'd be saying something like, let's have a look at our interface. So we know that we need a label which asks for what type of coffee, what type of milk. Then we've got our radio buttons. We've got more radio buttons. And then we've got, we've got our radio buttons. We've got the other two radio buttons. And then what we're doing is we're adding those to some groups. And the reason for that is because it allows us, and I'll run it again, it allows us just to choose one or the other option within that group. So we've got a group for coffee and we've got a group for milk. If we just had it as one group, well, then we can only choose one of the four options. That's not very good. Maybe depending on what kind of a cafe you're running, don't know. So I'd be promoting the importance of that, and then we've got our button, and then we've got our empty label as well. So the print button then calls set order, go up, set order. We have our order set to nothing to start with. If we have selected to make a latte, we'll then go off and it'll run this subroutine here, just returns it true or false. And I think this may be a part of the PyQt interface. Tkinter does it a little bit differently, but this is the way I had to make it work for that. So it says the selected coffee will be a latte. It will cost $3. Then if we have milk, depending on the type of milk that gets entered, we then say, okay, it's either full cream milk or it's soy milk, depending on whether the subroutines return true, and then we adjust our cost. And then from there, we have this little bit of information here, or sorry, this here, which creates the label. So that's basically what I have for that. And like I said, once again, there's a lot of scope for using this, this type of an order form.